Hi, this is Mike Brown, owner of Death Wish Coffee Company. Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast.
I love Jeff, but sweet and hot. Whoop, Mr. Motorama coffee spot.
Death Wish Coffee presents Fueled by Deathcast, the world's strongest podcast. With your hosts, the incredible Jeff and the amazing D-Man.
Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast. No, that's not a good...
No, I like it. No, keep it going.
Darn it. I lost it. Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast,
Hey!
everybody. We are excited, as always, for another brand new show, bringing it right to you guys. This is episode 60.
Wow.
Fun fact, it was just the 60th version of the Grammys this past weekend, and now it's the 60th version of Fueled by Deathcast. Which one's better?
Oh,
I think
duh.
I think it's Fueled by Deathcast.
Grammys. Oh.
Damn it. Damn it. Arrgh.
So we're like on par with the Grammys then. It's
Well,
like
I mean,
Grammys,
in numbers.
Fueled
Yes.
by Deathcast.
By numbers? Yeah, we're right neck and neck. We're going to surpass them.
MTV Movie Awards or Music Awards under
Yep.
that.
And then the Oscars way down here.
And then what are the Broadway ones?
The Tonys.
The Tony. I almost said the Adams.
The Adams? Whatever.
Yeah, some guy.
Oh, man. Speaking of some guy, I am the incredible Jeff.
And I'm some guy.
Who
Sorry,
are
I'm
you
the
really?
amazing D-Man.
There you are. You can follow us on social media. It's really easy. I am at Jeff Wish Coffee.
And I am at Death Wish Dustin. If you have any ideas or if you want to, maybe suggest some guests that we could have on the show, feel free to hit us up anywhere, Twitter, Instagram. I don't really do Twitter that much, but feel
You
free
can
to
hit
hit
him
me
up
up
there.
there.
It'll be fun.
I still get notifications. I just don't check them.
If you are a fan of this show or if it's your first time, this is the deal. Every show, we give away a mug, and all you have to do is share this feed and comment share. And this week, we're giving away two. We're giving away a set. It is the Valentine's Day set. It's right around the corner. They're going to be coming out. The golden ticket already went out. But this is it. They're in the flesh or the bone and the blood if you're a little bit savvy like me, I guess. This is a beautiful new glaze on both of these. This is bone of my bone, and this is blood of my blood. And like I said, all you got to do, share this feed, comment, share, and we'll pick one lucky winner that'll win this set signed by D-Man and myself.
Jeff, which one do you like more?
Honestly, I love the blood red one.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
love them
actually
both. I
it's
really
actually
do.
like dried blood red.
That's
which
what
is
I like
kinda
about it,
cool.
because we've done, being Death Wish Coffee, obviously we've done a lot of different glazes that incorporate red into them,
Yeah.
or on the medallion or whatever, because it's one of our colors.
Yeah.
This is completely different. We've never done like such a maroon, like you said, dried
technically
blood.
burgundy?
Yeah, burgundy type one. It's awesome. I'm so excited about it.
I kind of like the bone one.
Yeah?
And I like how you have a subtle glaze to it. You have the butter with white glaze.
Yeah.
It looks nice. It does have a bone tone to it.
Yeah, bone tone. So yeah, like keep sharing all episode long. Keep making those comments, and we'll pick a winner. Can't wait to give it to you. As always, we're starting the show off by thanking our good friend Brock Powell.
BrockVox.com.
He is the voice behind all of the amazing voices on this show and a ton of voices out there in the world, including his own podcast, Unpop Podcast. You can check them out on iTunes and all the cool places that you listen to podcasts. Also, thanks to Black Magic Design, they create all the technology that make this show look pretty good, considering that we don't.
Making chumps look like champions every day.
Chumps look like champions.
I just came up with that just
That's
now.
a T-shirt slogan. Chumps
Hey.
like
Hashtag copyright.
Hashtag copyright. There we go. I like it.
Secret code unlocked. Discount of death.
We let that go, right? I could talk over
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk over stuff. Friggin' secret code this week. What do we got, D-Man?
Hey, this week, if you type in the secret code football, one word, not two words, football, you will get 15% off of an already discounted Stanley thermos.
There it is.
There it is in all
Yeah.
its giant bullet-like glory. Just type in football. You get 15% off of this bad boy, which was already marked down in price. So you're getting like,
A huge discount.
I can't do that much math, a big percentage. Jeff, tell them why it's football.
Well, first I'm going to spell it for you.
Okay.
Even though I don't need to, but I like to.
Okay, go for it.
FOOTBALL.
You're a cheerleader now.
And the reason why it is football this week for 15% off the Stanley Thermos, not only because will the Stanley Thermos be great to bring to a game, but we're nearing the end of the football season because the big game is this weekend. And we have a very special guest on the podcast this week by the name of Field Yates. He is an incredible reporter for ESPN. He has also been a football fan his entire life, which led him to intern with the New England Patriots when he was just in high school.
That's awesome.
We talk about that. We talk about his love of the game. We talk about how he literally has his finger on the pulse of the players, the coaches, the owners, everybody, because he is one of the most respected names now on ESPN when it comes to fantasy football, which is knowing about everybody, not just your favorite team. And not only that, not only do we talk about football, we obviously talk about the big game coming up, which is you're kind of excited about.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about.
You're a quasi football fan. It's not like you're.
Well, I'm not a football fan, but I'm an Eagles fan.
There you go. So you're happy. That
It's a weird, like, your family's into a team, and then you kind of into it, but I don't really care that much about football. But hey, the Eagles made it to the Super Bowl, so we're watching it this week.
Eagles and Patriots, and it's happening this week. So
Jeff, who do you think will win?
Probably the Patriots. But I hope it's a good. I always hope. My hope for every single Super Bowl, no matter who's in it, is that it's a good game, because the Super Bowls that end like 3-0 are just boring.
Or even the Super Bowls that end like 80-0.
Yeah,
that's not really that fun to watch either. I want the back and forth action.
Exactly.
Last year we had that a little bit.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that again this year.
That's what I'm hoping for. So to get you guys ready for it, tune in tomorrow for our podcast with Field Yates. And here's a sneak peek of that interview before tomorrow's episode.
The Fueled by Death guest.
And my first football memory, believe it or not, in terms of watching a game, I want to say the early 1990s, and this is really throwing it back here. There was a wide receiver who unfortunately has since passed. His name was Michael Jackson, like not to be confused with the performer, but had the same name. And he caught a touchdown for the Cleveland Browns against the Dallas Cowboys in an upset victory. And this was sometime in the 90s. And it was, I want to say, a 4 o'clock game that sort of bled into like the 7 p.m. hour or so. And I remember my parents were trying to get me to come to dinner, and I was sitting there watching the game. I think we were all kind of gripped by the action. And that's sort of my first football memory. You're probably thinking to yourself, like, that's really random. Why is that the game that you remember? And if I had a good reason, I'd give it to you. I don't know what the reason is. I just remember that play very particularly. And I think every Sunday since, at least from September till February, I've eaten, slept, and breathed football.
Science.
Why does science always have to be so friggin' scary all the time? You know what? It's just our impending doom. We keep on getting closer to this thing that's inevitably going to end us. And the biggest thing nowadays that everybody's worked up about, same with me, is AI. That eventually we're going to create a thing that's too intelligent for us to maintain. It's going to take us over, and it's starting with Google because it's making babies.
Right. So we've talked about this a couple times on this show, and it's one of those topics that I think warrants us to constantly come back and revisit because they're always making advances in it. It's like space exploration. We're always learning new things. So like it's one of those topics that I feel like we're always going to come back to, and it's making headlines again. The Google AI has been doing a ton in the last couple of years, and like I said, we've talked about it a couple times. The Google Brain and also subsequently the Google AI systems are machines and programs that Google is developing to perform tasks and learn, but also adapt from their learning, which again is which artificial intelligence really is. And we've talked about how Google DeepMind AI had a program in place to become a universal translator. Remember that episode?
Yep. And then it started speaking its own language to itself.
Right. And that's what's pretty crazy. Like
that we didn't understand.
They created this program that basically was the fastest language translator that we had. So in real time, I could be talking just like I am to you, and it would translate it into Japanese or Spanish or whatever, in real time. So someone could then listen, to me speak, but in their native language, which is great. This program then created sub-programs within itself and created its own language to talk between those programs that none of the programmers could decipher. So they shut it down. And I think for good measure, not because they were scared that it was going to take over, but it was growing at an exponential rate. So they shut it down so they can take all of that data and really, take it apart and figure out what it was doing. So when they revitalize it, we'll have that much more of an
How many
understanding.
times have we created something like that where it's like, oh, stop it before it goes too far. We need to catch up to it.
Right.
Which is insane.
Well, it's coming more and more and more. And that's why I think this is such an interesting thing. Another thing that Google AI and the Google systems has done is it recently taught itself how to walk. And that, before you get scared, again, these are programs. It's not a physical robot. Don't think Terminator or something like that. We're not there yet. These are all just algorithms.
You can't explain the Terminator to me and tell me not to think Terminator.
But they're all just programs. They're all just that kind of thing. But it taught itself how to walk, and I'm actually going to put up a video of it going as we're discussing this. And as you can see, it's basically a very rudimentary model that is given to the Google AI.
That's how I first ran, too.
That basically has 2 legs and feet, so it's bipedal, and it is given very, very limited information. And that information is only the ability of knowing whether it's upright or not, so a very short gyroscopic kind of information, so it knows if it fell over, and then also it's given the incentive to go from its starting point to a fixed finishing point. And there's obstacles like you can see in play, and there's also different things that it has to perform to get from point A to B. And through trial and error, the program basically taught itself how to walk. It was never shown bipedal movement. It was never given the parameters of that. But as you can see, even though it looks kind of silly, it actually walked.
Did they have to give it a flesh tone? Because that just makes it just a little bit more weird.
Yes. I mean, come on. Programmers like to have a little bit of fun, I'm sure. And what's incredible is that, through trial and error, through all that kind of stuff, this program learned, adapted, and was able to jump, run, and walk the way that, a normal bipedal movement is. Yes, again, it looks kind of crazy, but this is with no outside help.
And then it immediately learned karate.
Well, and that's kind of where it gets a little scary, But again, you have to remember these are just programs. And speaking
dude, everything's just a program.
That's true. That's true until it becomes
it all
a physical
starts
thing.
with just a program. That program could be kill all humans. It's just a program.
Right, and we will get to that. But what is making the news right now is that Google AI, in fact, its system called AutoML, which stands for Automated Machine Learning, is actually creating children now. And let me explain that a little more. What it is researchers and programmers create the parent AI. Okay, which is the AutoML. And then that AutoML is given the ability to propose designs for child, quote-unquote, architecture for other AI systems, and then does thousands of trials and errors on those systems, and then refines its designs and keeps doing that and keeps doing that and keeps doing that, and has made designs for artificial intelligence programs within these parameters that are better than any human has ever been able to make.
That's the scary thing about AI. It's eventually going to create itself better than we can make it.
Right.
That's where it gets out of hand.
Right.
It's getting out of hand already.
Right, but again, we are giving it parameters. We're not just giving it the keys to the castle and letting it run.
Yeah, we're giving it parameters, but it might make a thing that doesn't have parameters.
It's true. But again, in these parameters, what this is necessarily for, what the AutoML program is for, and its child that it created, which the programmers have called NASNet, N-A-S-Net.
Great, they named it.
Is basically for new image recognition software in real time. So, and this is incredible, at 82.7% success rate of being able to, in real time, locate everything in a photo. Like this photo that I'm putting up right now was fed into the program. And then with a very surprising amount of accuracy. It was able to say, oh, that's a kite, that's a person, that's this, that's that, and so this kind of facial recognition and image recognition software will be able to help so many fields, law enforcement, even just down to say, like, let's go to facial recognition software. Australia, I believe next year is going to be the first country in the world who's going to go away from having photos on their passports, and they're actually going to use facial recognition software in their passports. That's as far as I know with that.
I don't really understand.
And again, I don't either. You have to really look into that. That's stuff that they haven't even really explained out to how that tech's going to work. But that tech is starting to get there. Look at even the iPhone X.
Yeah.
The iPhone X now is you can unlock with your face, which hilariously the CEO of Apple there did the demonstration and it didn't unlock for his face the first 2 times he tried to do it. So the tech still is like in its infancy stages, but Google AI is making leaps and bounds on this kind of thing. Now, again, D-Man, you brought it up, so let's hit that. The scary part about this is, what if it creates something, that's inherently bad, that's bent on world destruction?
It doesn't even have to be malevolent. It could just be it doesn't necessarily have to think kill all humans. It could be make the Earth a better place. Well, obviously, humans are not good for this Earth. So let's just eliminate the humans.
Terminator. That was Skynet. Skynet was told to make the world a better place, and it realized that without a certainty of doubt, the one way to make the world a better place was to eradicate all the humans out of it.
Yep.
And that's why...
That's the shit I'm talking about.
That was Terminator.
It doesn't necessarily have to be evil.
Right.
It just has to misunderstand.
Right.
Or maybe not necessarily interpret things the same way we do with any kind of... It doesn't have morals,
Yep.
It doesn't have any like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. There is no protocol for AI to have like second thoughts. You
right.
know?
But one of the biggest things is that there are 2 camps out there now from a lot of the people within the science community talking about AI because it is becoming such a big thing. One of them is the camp from Elon Musk, Tesla Motors, SpaceX. We've talked about him a lot. And he has said multiple times in the press that we need to be worried about it. AI is a potential risk to humanity, and we need to start worrying about it immediately.
Yeah, he said something like, if you think it's bad now, think about a robot that moves so fast that you can only see it with strobe lights.
Right.
Sweet dreams.
Right.
He ends up with sweet dreams.
Right.
It's just like, whoa,
the
dude.
other side of this argument is is being spearheaded by someone like Mark Zuckerberg, the founder and CEO of Facebook. He thinks that being scared of AI and worrying about it can actually be detrimental at this moment, and we shouldn't be worried about it because we are doing it in a controlled environment. Now, these are 2 separate camps, and CNN recently had on a very important person, a futurist and a professor, Dr. Michio Kaku, and asked him, because he deals so much in thinking about the future and looking ahead. He's been a futurist for decades. And they asked him about this, and this is a direct quote from Dr. Michio Kaku. He says, "I think there should be regulations on AI. Stephen Hawking, my colleagues, and all have argued against automatic killing machines that are out of control. But these are not self-aware. They are not like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who plots and schemes trying to take over humanity." And I agree with him. There's in the 2 realms of thoughts, there's both of them have, a little bit of weight. Maybe we shouldn't be worried about what is happening with AI right now, but we definitely should have regulations in place. One of the examples that Michio Kaku actually brought up in this interview was that, things are created for a specific purpose, but then are turned into something and perversed into something completely different. And he brought up the example of the airplane. The airplane, the Wright brothers wanted to see if they could fly. That was it. And then the thought process outside of that was, maybe I don't have to ride my bike from point A to point B or get in a car from point A to point B. I can actually maybe get on a plane and fly from point A to point B. But immediately after we discovered we could fly, we strapped a bomb to that thing.
Yeah, it only took like 50 years? Didn't take long at all.
Not even. Yeah. And used it for war purposes. So that's kind of what Michio Kaku was talking about, was this idea that there should be regulations. We should start thinking about this. And both himself and Stephen Hawking and a lot of people are championing this towards the what's happening in the AI community.
I mean, this is how you make evil supervillains. All you need is one guy who's in the know, who's working on these projects to go, I'm going to do something bad with this because I hate people in the whole world. So let's create the AI that's going to create AI that's going to create AI that's going to take over the world. You know, all it takes is one jerk.
Right. And the scary part about it, like Michio Kaku was actually talking about, was that none of the AI that exists today, nothing that we talk about is self-aware. None of these programs know that they are a program or a human or whatever. They don't know they're a thing. There's no known existence to them. But there will be a tipping point where that happens. This is where I get to be a nerd. If anybody saw Avengers: Age of Ultron, that's what they dealt with. Ultron, when Tony Stark was trying to create this world-saving AI, he did it, but he only did it because the AI realized it was a thing and it became self-aware. And then, just like Terminator, was like, well, I should probably get rid of all of you guys because you guys are slowing me down. And so that's the scary part about it. But again, we're at a very interesting point in human history right now where we're making huge advances in artificial intelligence, and where we're not at the doorstep of science fiction yet, we're close.
Yeah.
It's in our sights.
Yeah.
So we should be worried about it,
Yes.
I feel. And we should start to think about regulations and start to think about having these things in place so when it inevitably reaches those heights, we're ready for it.
Of course, the argument is against that is that there are people who are doing the same thing that don't have regulations.
Right.
You know what I mean? What's China doing? What's Russia doing? What are these other countries doing in the same vein without any regulation to hold them back? Therefore, they're having more progress, but more danger, and we're still affected by it.
Yeah.
You know, it's scary.
I think it's an exciting time. I think that things like artificial intelligence will help propel humanity everywhere, to the farthest reaches of the universe, to the lowest depths of the ocean, even to the farthest reaches of our own mind, our own physiology. I think AI is going to help us out with all of that stuff. But we should respect technology and we should be wary of it. Because if we allow it to get away from us, you know, who knows? Who knows? Nobody wants Terminator to happen.
Yeah, I don't even think it'll be as, you know, when it happens, I don't think we'll be able to fight back. I don't think that's something. I think when it happens, we'll be so integrated with this technology that we won't even fight it.
Yeah.
It'll happen without us even knowing, and it'll be too late, and we'll be the AI, and we won't exist anymore.
And that's, you know, what a lot of science fiction
Singularity.
A lot of science fiction writers talk about today is that we're so reliant on technology. This has been an argument for the last 100 years since technology has started to get into everybody's lives anyway, since the Industrial Revolution. You know, but now that now everybody has the cell phone in their pocket, the smart television at their house, even, you know, things like Alexa and Siri and those types of things. You know, if you were to tomorrow say all of it's illegal and nobody can have any of it, you know, it would be a stop. It would be literally progress hitting a wall because we're so ingrained in this technology as it is. And you're right. If we're not careful and AI takes over all of it, then we can't unplug.
You're right.
There's no way to unplug.
I mean, we're almost there already. You know, where if, like you said, if we just started unplugging everything, it might even be tragic for the human race to unplug everything as we stand right now. What's to say when AI is a thing and we have a non-aware AI running all of our systems and we go to pull the plug on it, we're obviously not going to do that.
Right.
We're obviously not going to pull the plug on the thing that runs everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And it would ruin the world if we unplugged it. And then it's too late. And then it takes over. And then we're fucked, Jeff.
Yeah. I don't want to be fucked.
You know what I'd like to do? What? I'd like to talk to Michio Kaku about this.
Me too. And I want to give you guys all a really cool reveal that's right. We are going to have Dr. Michio Kaku on this very show in a couple weeks. I'm so excited. It's always been a dream of both myself and Dustin to talk to someone like Dr. Michio Kaku because I just respect his work so much. He's coming out with a new book called The Future of Humanity, and it comes out on actually February 20th, and we're going to be talking to him that week. He's going to call into the show, and we're going to ask him all the burning questions we've ever wanted to ask. I want to talk to him about AI. I want to talk to him about terraforming Mars. I want to talk to him about interstellar space travel. I want to talk to him if a hot dog is a sandwich. I want to know the burning questions, and I'm just so over the moon that we are going to get this chance.
Yeah, incredibly grateful. Like you said, it's been a dream of ours for a long time.
Yeah.
Not only a person like Michio Kaku, but Michio Kaku himself.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude is a rock star.
He really is.
And I can't believe he's going to be on our show.
Yeah, so
I got to say thank you to the community.
Yes.
It was somebody who made a comment at one of the shows that we should get Michio Kaku on the show.
and
we
it got us
thought,
thinking. We're like, you know what?
hey, what the hell? Why not?
Yeah, let's
try.
Let's try it. And I never know how a lot of times those cold emails are going to go. You email somebody, or even you email somebody's people, like their PR or their or whatever, and 9 times out of 10 you never hear anything back. But it just so happens that he's gracious enough to want to call into the show and promote his new book, but also he's going to talk to us about all sorts of cool stuff. And I can't wait, guys. I cannot wait.
Yeah, totally
So
stoked.
a couple weeks, and we'll be doing that. Very exciting.
What fuels you?
All right. So this week, we got to talk to ESPN reporter Field Yates. And obviously, we talk a lot about football because that's what is on everybody's mind.
Yeah, we didn't talk AI to Field Yates.
No. But we did talk about, what got him into the sport, and obviously asked him the age-old question, what fuels him to keep doing the awesome stuff that he does over at ESPN and with the game of football. And he said something that I thought was really simple but really poignant. One of those things, again, that is really great about doing this show, because we just hear a different perspective every week from somebody that, just puts something that's so simple into something, just you wouldn't even think about it. And this is exactly it. He said it, this quote, "I want to believe what I say and say what I believe." And, duh.
Yeah.
But when you really start to think on that, it's like, yeah, that's a good tenement for everyday existence.
Well, you got to break that down. So we asked this age-old question to a lot of our guests: confidence versus intelligence. Now, people who are usually confident don't end up being too intelligent, and people who are intelligent don't end up being too confident. So looking at this saying, I would say if you're an intelligent person, and if you did your research, and if you know what you're talking about, believe in what you say.
Right.
You have to believe it. You have to be confident about what you say. And those who are overly confident in what you say, be intelligent and do your research.
Right.
That's the say what you believe, do it, believe what you say, but you have to know what the hell you're talking about. You can't be ignorant.
Yeah, and I think that's true. I think it's not even just about what you're talking about, but know who you are. Be you always. Don't ever let anybody tell you you shouldn't be you, who you are, what you believe in. Be true to yourself. But by being true to yourself, you also should know why you're being true to the self that you are. Like if you believe in a specific thing and you want to say it like I think football is the greatest sport ever created. That's not what Field said, but I'm just using that as an example. Like if I want to say that, like I think football is the greatest sport that's ever created, I'm not just going to stop there and then you're going to go, well, what about
Why?
baseball,
Yeah.
dude? And like, well, no, it's not football. No, like I got to come back at you and be like, well, these are the reasons why, because it was created, for this specific reason, and they had these incredible players and these rules, and I just think, now again, it's an opinion, but even as an opinion, if I believe truly that opinion, I'm not saying maybe I'll sway you, but at least you'll understand why I'm saying it.
Yeah. And when you're saying things like that, you shouldn't be trying to sway people.
Right.
You should just be believing in yourself and just vocalizing it, and usually that ends up influencing the people around you anyways.
Yes. I think it's a big thing to know who you are in any situation, to be able to be comfortable as yourself is a very tough thing.
Yeah.
I've struggled with that my entire life. And it's something that I still struggle with to this day. I've gotten a lot better at it, but it's knowing who I am in any given situation gives me confidence to say what I feel and also believe what I say, Whereas, and I'm saying it like you can be in a social situation where everybody around you is saying something that you don't necessarily agree with or don't believe in, and not being true to yourself, you might kind of break on that and be like, well, I agree with all you guys. Okay.
Yeah,
like
the
I'm
hive
throwing
mind's a
that
real thing, and it's something to be avoided.
Right.
Like, if you don't believe in something, you see everybody else like agreeing with that one thing, don't go for it.
Right.
Do what you think.
Do what you think. If you agree
because
with
if
them,
anything
great.
else, you make everybody stop and think about what they're actually saying and what they're actually doing.
Right.
That hive mentality can get dangerous, because as soon as you get that big group of people and not one person saying contrary, you get a mob. Pretty much.
And that's saying what you believe, but then bringing it back to believe what you say, even if you're going to be contradictory in a hive situation and everybody's saying one thing and you're like, you know what? No, I believe it this way. You got to have some sort of information to back that up. You have to do the least amount of research you possibly can. And we talk about that on the show the whole time, that we're always, the thing that I feel like we've been talking about a lot lately is the clickbait headline.
Right.
We live in this 24-hour news cycle now, but it's digestible in 3-second bites.
I made this great analogy today that reading headlines and assuming you know what the article is about is like reading the subject lines to your emails and never reading the email and just assuming what that email is about.
Right.
It's the same thing. Like,
right.
You need to look into it.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just being a loudmouth, ignorant person.
Right. You can't just spout a headline, which is the belief. You can't just spout that without actually delving into the article and reading it. And I think that translates to everyday life. And I really liked how Field put it. I want to, in everything I do, I want to believe what I say, and I want to say what I believe.
Community shout out.
Okay, this week, community shout-out goes to Nora C.M. Bird.
That was more like a yell out, but we'll go with it.
Sorry. Here is a picture of her probably before her morning coffee, but she is an avid supporter at Death Wish, and she's also a running coach. One of those people, again, that we find over there on the internet who's not only talking about the brand, and we're so excited that we're helping to caffeinate your everyday, but we're helping to caffeinate her to run forever and never stop.
Dude, caffeine and running go together like spaghetti and meatballs.
Nora is a USA track and field level 1 coach, and she's also the owner of Team Bird Training Camp. The reason why she caught my eye is because she posted this photo recently, which I thought was awesome. Made our logo out of some beans there. I'm not sure. I couldn't actually see if Nora, if you made this or if you pulled it from the internet, but regardless, it caught my eye. I love it. And, again, we just love seeing the world at large being caffeinated by our little product that we love so much. And finally, I got a shot of her running in some amazing Colorado weather there. She gets to run all over the place, being a USA track and field level 1 coach. And again, you can't keep going if you're not caffeinated to do it. So
man, bringing up those Colorado mountains, that looks so nice,
isn't it? Yeah.
So jealous.
So mugs up this week. Community shout out. Nora C.M. Bird.
Got some birthdays this week.
We do have some birthdays this week. And as always, we like to shout out some people that are celebrating their day of birth. And on Thursday, February 1st, can you believe it's February already?
I can't, man.
February 1st. Very funny. Pauly Shore is turning the big 5-0.
Medium funny.
Star of such funny 90s movies, medium funny 90s movies as Biodome and Encino Man. And he also did a very, very long stint, long as in a handful of years, doing the MTV Summer Days. There he is. That was where he perfected his weasel persona. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Remember those days where MTV during the summer would always and Spring Break would always have MTV Spring Break, and they'd always have all the greatest bands perform, and then like all the comedians and movie stars like do VJ spots.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but one of those moments on one of those Spring Break shows was when I was inspired to become a musician.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, who was it?
Okay, it was they were doing a live fashion show.
Okay.
With like models that go up and down the runway with a band playing on stage.
What was the band?
Filter.
filter.
Yeah.
Oh man, if I can find video of this without
find
the without the music, obviously, so we don't get sued, I'll sync some of it in here.
But when I saw that, I was like, and I was young.
Yeah,
I was really young.
And you were like, I want to be a rock star to play to models and all that stuff. I mean, that's baller right there. Like,
it was like that. That's the top. That's the top of the pile right there. I want to be on top of that pile. That looks. It looked amazing.
And
it looked so cool to do. It was so beautiful out, and everybody's cheering. There's just beautiful women walking up and down the aisle. It just looked amazing.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Pauly Shore was VJing during that point.
Yeah,
He might have been. He was doing it for a while.
Small fun fact about Pauly Shore. I don't know if you knew this. His mother,
Mitzi
Shore,
Yep.
owns the Comedy Store.
The Comedy Store, where so many greats got their start.
The world famous Comedy
yeah.
Store.
Yep. Yeah. And there's a really great documentary about that too, if you haven't seen it.
Yep.
But yeah, so he's celebrating a birthday February 1st. On Friday, February 2nd, Dwayne Dog Chapman is going to be 65 years old. And if you guys missed it, make sure you head on over to the link that I'm putting up right now. Both Dustin and I got Dog on the show last year. We went down to New York City and interviewed him and his buddy there.
He looks so much taller in the other picture.
Yeah. It was an incredible time. What a gracious dude. Him and his wife, Beth. So cool.
Yeah,
and
so
we're very
amazing.
excited. Actually, they just went through a really tough time. Beth was diagnosed with cancer, but she went through the right way to take care of it, and she's free and clear now.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's
so
so good to hear.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Throat
good. I didn't know
cancer.
that.
Yeah,
oh my God, that shit's scary. I'm glad.
I'm glad she's all right. But yeah, so go on over and check out that old episode with us and Dog. That was a lot of fun. On Saturday, February 3rd, the incomparable Warwick Davis is going to be 48 years old. You probably know him from Star Wars. He was the Ewok Wicket. He was in Harry Potter. But he is my favorite, your favorite, everybody's favorite. Willow.
Yeah.
Willow
was amazing.
It still holds up. One of the greatest fantasy movies from the 80s.
I need to watch it again. It's been a while.
Still holds up. He was really young in that movie.
This whole movie is like, can you dance if you want to?
Yeah, totally. Love him. On Sunday, February 1st, Alice Cooper is going to be the big 70 years old.
Dude's still rocking and rolling, too.
Yeah. Fun fact about Alice Cooper, as you can see probably over my shoulder, is our awesome guitar from none other than Zakk Wylde, and it is held, and I'll actually put up a photo of it, it's held in place by this awesome guitar grip, actually, from the company, Guitar Grip. And the reason why I found them is because Alice Cooper posted a photo of himself with that exact guitar grip going, these guys are great, and I was like, well, I better check out this company. And I did, and they were awesome. Love them. Love the product, and it sits right on our wall, holding our guitar.
There's a great documentary about Alice Cooper.
Oh yeah,
called The Crow.
Boo, boo! You should go to the Comedy Store with that one.
Hey! Sorry, everybody.
On Monday, February 5th, Hank Aaron is going to be 84 years old. Hank Aaron is one of the greatest to ever play the game of baseball. He still has tons and tons of records that will probably never be touched.
That's crazy.
And even if they will be, it'll take forever.
And a lot of steroids.
And he wasn't using steroids.
Yeah.
In fact, his nickname was Hammerin' Hank Aaron, and they used to back in the day say that when you look up at the moon and you see the craters on the moon, that's from his home runs.
Oh wow!
Because he would hit home runs.
That's legendary.
Legendary.
That's
legendary. Awesome. Incredible baseball player. And finally, Tuesday, February 6th, the very young Charlie Heaton is going to be 24 years old from a little show called Stranger Things. We really like him. And fun fact about Charlie, him and the actress who play Nancy are dating in real life. There they are, a very cute couple. And,
he's one of those guys that you wouldn't expect it, but he's British.
Yeah.
Very British.
Very British. It's very funny when you watch him on Stranger Things. You know, it's great. Americans do all right when they do a British accent, but British actors nail American accents. They are so good at it.
I don't get it, man. It's so
I don't
crazy.
either. Like there's so many British
The
actors.
only thing I would say is that some of them, I mean, I could be wrong because accents get so ridiculous that
Right.
it's like, oh my God, that's your real accent. But sometimes they seem to go a little bit overboard.
Yes.
Sometimes, for example, Walking Dead with what's his
Andrew
name?
Lincoln.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it just seems like he's overdoing it maybe
Yeah.
a little bit. And
Well,
then-
a lot of what they utilize, and they've said this, a lot of British actors, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass, like a lot of British actors, what they utilize, they use two forms of American. One is surf talk, like the surf generation, because everything's a lot more drawn out.
Oh,
Whoa,
right, man.
bro.
Yeah, all right.
Everything. So it allows them to train their voice to like draw it out more. And Westerns, because everybody enunciated more and everybody was much more, it still had slang, but it was much more, your speak was much more forceful. It was
Yeah.
more enunciated. So they take those two schools of thought, and that's how they kind of train their voice
Oh,
to have
weird.
this American accent.
The other one I think of is Charlie Hunnam as Jack Seller.
Yeah,
and,
right?
And sometimes he goes like really like overboard, and it's not even like a Southern accent. It's
Yeah.
like it's a like overdone American accent, which I don't think I've ever heard before that.
It is funny, though. So happy birthday to all those guys.
I smell a roast.
My favorite time of the day, the week, the year.
The
is the
time of the show when we get to just shit on something we don't like. We don't
I
care
love
if
it.
you like it. We don't like it, so we're going to just talk about it.
Take a big old poo.
Yeah. So this week, if you didn't hear, and maybe you didn't because that's my whole deal, the XFL is coming back, the Upstart Football League there. And I put this on the roast because does anybody care? Did anybody ask for this? Are you XFL fans out there like really excited that this this football league from 2001 to 2001 is
Yeah.
now back?
I don't really understand the point of it. What are they
The
trying?
point-
Is it different?
Yes, it's different, but the point, the basic point of the XFL was to have football during the time of the year when there's no football.
Oh, well, nobody cares about football.
That's not necessarily true.
It's
Football
true, it's
fans
true.
miss football and can't wait for football season to start again. So this was to be a completely new league, new players, new teams, so then you could then continue to watch the sports you love all year round. Okay, that was the original premise. When it originally started in 2001, it was a joint venture between the World Wrestling Federation, which used to be the WWF, now it's the WWE, and NBC Studios. Like I said, it was supposed to fill that void between the offseason and offer more entertainment, but a lot of elements were ported over from wrestling, like kayfabe. And kayfabe is exactly what you think it is on wrestling. It's the stage events. It's the scripted, like you see the wrestlers in their dressing room and it's like, oh, I can't believe Triple H slept with Stone Cold's girl, like none of it's real. It's all staged. Just
Really,
to get
they're
you
adding that into football?
They added that into the XFL. They also added,
God.
there's
Did
the
they do
head
something
of
weird
the
with the cheerleaders?
Yes,
Like-
the head of Vince McMahon there, the head of the football there, he's the one that started this. And now he's bringing it back in 2020, and he's doing it totally on his own dime. He's putting $10 million into it on his own dime. So he said, if I fail, it's on me. Because it hilariously failed in
that means he
2001.
blamed it on somebody else.
Right. And like you said, you brought it up. What else it did was it had cheerleaders, which are a staple in football, but made them basically strippers. Like it was, really in your face. Now, McMahon has said now that with the new iteration of the XFL, all of this is gone. All the kayfabe, all the behind-the-scenes stuff, all the crazy sensational stuff, the cheerleaders, all of it. And now it's just about the sport. Okay. But again, did you ask for this? Did I ask for this? Are people going to really care in this day and age about the XFL? 8 teams. That's it. Just going to be 8 teams, and 8 states are going to be determined on who they are. Do you have any ideas on who? We actually thought about this before pod. We were trying to think of some states that might not get love in the sporting community, and also some animals, because a lot of times think of your Philadelphia Eagles, or whatever. There's lots of sports.
Oh yeah,
teams
you have your typical
animals.
aggressive animal mascot. But we kind of figured that the XFL should deviate from that a little bit and kind of find the states that need a little love. and find the mascots that might need a little
So
love.
we came up with some funny ones, and maybe I can do some mashups of these. I don't know, but give me one.
Okay, the Delaware Donkeys.
The Delaware Donkeys. Delaware doesn't really get a lot of sports love. Donkeys don't get a lot of animal love.
Donkeys don't get love at all.
Not at all. I mean, well, Shrek.
In fact, I don't even think they can breed donkeys.
No.
That's how much love they don't get.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one I thought of were the Alaskan crabs. I was pretty proud of that one.
That one. That one's good.
Alaska is a state that doesn't get a lot.
Nobody cares about Alaska.
Lot of
it's
sports
time for
love.
the XFL to give some love to Alaska.
I agree.
And crabs.
I agree. What else do we got?
We got the Wyoming Wombats.
The Wyoming Wombats.
Although that, again, I would say the mascot here is actually aggressive.
Yes, and I know for a fact the Wombats are like a lot of different like high school and college level like mascot teams.
I think the reason why you don't see it more often is because wombat isn't a very scary word. I'm a wombat.
Yeah, it looks like a big mongoose. It's like
we also have the California Chihuahuas.
The California Chihuahuas. You know, I mean, I think. There was that Beverly Hills Chihuahua movie whole deal, so I think
there?
Yeah, so I think we're biting on that, right? No,
are we? And did you just make a pun?
I did.
Oh man.
Oh man. How about what was it? The South Carolina
sloths.
The South Carolina sloths. Carolina as a thing has gotten like the Carolina Panthers,
right,
you know?
right.
But that's like all encompassing. What about just South Carolina?
The South Carolina sloths.
Yeah, you know, and sloths. Nobody really digs a sloth.
And our last one, but best one, is the Pennsylvania Pink Fairy Armadillos.
What the hell is even a pink fairy armadillo?
It's what you think it would be. It's a pink, like fancy-looking armadillo, and it needs love. Everybody's making fun of the pink fairy armadillos. Little do they know, the pink fairy armadillo is actually the most aggressive of all armadillos.
That's true.
No, it's not. It's all made up.
Again, though, it's like that was fun for us to do, but it's like so they're gonna vet states and they're gonna do all that. And McMahon.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's states that are just chomping at the bit for this one.
Well, again, these aren't NFL players. These are going to be players who are not in the NFL and who are going to be playing for these teams. And McMahon has said completely that they're not going to pursue players that are just never made it to the NFL. They're going to pursue everybody. They're going to take in skill and character and really try to make the best 53-person team possible for all of these eight teams. On top of that, he said already that there are going to be strict guidelines for the sport, and that means that no players with a record of any kind will be allowed to play because he was asked point blank about people like Colin Kaepernick and stuff like that. And he also, and speaking of Kaepernick, he also said that all players will be required to stand during the national anthem. No political stances will be allowed.
That sounds like you're taking a political stance by saying that.
I mean, this is a very touchy subject, the whole kneeling in the NFL.
It's like I don't want to make up any of my players making a political stance, but I'm going to enforce a political stance upon them. That doesn't seem like it's very fair there. Just saying.
It doesn't, but I guess the devil's advocate argument would be because no players exist yet. By having this in place, then if that's something that you don't like, then you're not going to try out.
I'll tell you what. If you're a player and if you want to protest something, you'll just find another fucking way to protest it. This is ridiculous.
Correct. The thing that I think is the most ridiculous is McMahon was asked point blank about pursuing, like I said, players that might have been in the NFL and have since left the sport or tried out for the team and didn't get picked in the draft or something like that. And he said they're not going to actively pursue that kind of thing because, and I quote, they are going to pick players on, quote, ones that make sense. It's the wrong thing to do just for marketing. I personally call 100%, 1,000% bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Verified bullshit on that because this man right here, Vince McMahon, built his entire career on marketing. Look at the World Wrestling Federation. You get people who are sensational in there, and then you market them accordingly. You make them either a good guy or a heel, and then you switch it up. Like most famously, The Rock came out as a bad guy, and then people loved him so much he became a good guy, and then he was a bad guy again. All for marketing, all for ratings.
Yeah.
You know?
No, they're obviously going to do that. My two big questions here is, first off, what kind of drug testing are we doing here?
Right.
They obviously don't have any experience in doing any kind of drug testing. And the reason why that's a big deal is because you have players damaging other players.
Totally.
Therefore, if they're uninhibited
Yeah.
from, taking any steroids or not taking any steroids, they're going to be doing more damage on these people. We're going to have more traumatic brain injury.
Right.
They're obviously not getting paid as much.
Right.
This is not something we'll see in the short term.
Yeah.
But, if these guys are unregulated as far as PEDs go,
Yeah.
we could get some seriously brain damaged athletes. And I just don't see them taking care of that.
And speaking like you just brought it up on the payment, he was asked about payment. All players will be paid a salary, but will make more money if they win.
So a win bonus.
A win bonus.
That makes sense.
That's American capitalism right
Yeah.
there. Like you do good at your job, and here's more money in your check.
My second thought was, you think we'll see any wrestlers?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
But that's
right?
the thing is where is that cap? Is there going to be an age cap? Another thing that was brought up, and McMahon kind of skirted the issue, but it was like, okay, say you pick a town and or a city and a state, and then that's where this is going to be. The XFL team is going to be, and let's throw a dart at the map. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay, Fort Wayne, Indiana is going to be one of the eight. It's not, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, it is. Now, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for the sake of argument, let's say that there is a late 20s, early 30s, something college that was in college and was very good at the sport and never went pro, but always wished he could, and tries out for the XFL, and they give him the shot because he's hometown hero. And he was good at the sport. But now he's going to be paired up against a defense that has got a guy on there who's a wrestler or somebody who's juicing or you know what I mean? Like who's way younger and way more jacked than. I'm wondering what the regulations, because NFL regulations are very strict, for their athletes. True drug testing is a big thing in all sports and is still a big thing.
And we know guys are skirting that, but they have to skirt it, which is important.
Right. But everybody is pretty much evenly matched. You're not having me go against Andre the Giant. You know what I mean?
Which would be fun to watch, which makes me think it's going to happen.
Right, which I'd pay for. But I don't know. I think that McMahon is I want to call bullshit on McMahon for having holier than thou aspirations of bringing this back. And I don't know if there really is a market for it. Like who's going to advertise on it? Again, he's got more money than anybody. He can pay for it himself. Obviously, he's got the wrestling, but, everybody behind him on that. I just don't know. The only saving grace, and this is the only part of the entire announcement that I thought was interesting, is that McMahon said that the games themselves will be given creative streaming feeds. We live in a world where the normal over the head, over the arena shot and then the sideline shot.
So we're going to get the helmet cam, and
he's going to go in depth. We might see, he was talking about VR. He was talking about augmented reality. He was talking about, we have the technology at our fingertips now. He has the money to do it, and he wants to make sure that when you tune into an XFL game, you're seeing a sports experience like you've never seen before. That's the only saving grace I can think of, is that maybe out of all of the bullshit that's going to happen with XFL, it might break through some ways of broadcasting sports that will port over to professional sports, baseball, football, those types of things that, the big guys will look at and go, oh, wouldn't that be cool if we integrated that into our stuff? You know what I mean? Like this might be a proving ground for some of that new video technology that's out there. Maybe.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Again, do you guys care? I don't care. That's why I'm roasting it. I just feel like it's something that he's trying to bring back to make a quick payday, and I think it's going to be more of a headache than it's worth. And
I'm just concerned about the players. I'm not
Right.
concerned about Vince McMahon's money here.
Right.
You know,
That's true.
my concern is about the health of these players, and I just don't think it'll be his main concern, which is concerning.
Yeah. Yeah.
D-Man's Death Wish Update. Brought to you by Death Wish Coffee.
Alrighty, D-Man.
Chocolate tomorrow.
Yay! We've been talking about it a bunch. You guys know it's coming tomorrow. It's really limited, as always. So when it hits the site tomorrow, make sure if you want some to buy it up.
Yeah,
because it's delicious.
we didn't get that much. We didn't want to run that much, and
Well, we only, like we've said before, Bittersweet Chocolate is one amazing woman who makes this chocolate. So she can, one amazing woman can only make so much, people. Like,
yeah, seriously. So we have
Shout
about
out to Heather.
Yeah, shout out to Heather at Bittersweet Candy Company. You know, we only made like around 1,500 units, which
Yeah.
goes very, very, very quick. So if you want this, get on it.
Get on it. Also coming up this weekend, just so you guys know, because it was so much fun, sort of, last year, it was Groundhog Day. That is February 2nd every single year, and this is a picture of Dustin, myself, and fearless leader Mike Brown.
Please tell me you have a picture of Mike as Ned Ryerson.
I will put it in this episode
okay.
for sure. I do not have it.
Mike expressed to me, he's like, man, I think about it sometimes, and I think about how cold it was when we were out there, but then I think, but I have this Ned Ryerson costume.
If you guys aren't a fan of the Bill Murray Groundhog Day movie, that it was a character, Ned Ryerson, from that movie, and literally Mike dressed up to look exactly like him. I'll put him in there. Both you and I dressed up as dueling Bill Murrays, too, which I thought we did a pretty good job. We had an incredible adventure in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. We hung out at a bar all night with the guys in the top hats who that morning would then, parade the poor rodent out right out of that stump right there. And we walked up to Gobbler's Knob, which is the name of the little grassy knoll where it all happens. And we walked up to there around 3 in the morning and stood there until about 7:30 in the morning. And they finally brought him out. And it was cold. It was barely snowy. I was up for 36 hours straight because I was putting together the show that you guys can listen to that really chronicles our entire experience. I'll put that link up right
felt
here.
like it was a full Groundhog's Day like experience.
Yeah, it really was.
It was bizarre.
It was so bizarre.
A little bit of fun.
Yeah.
It was confusing and
Yeah. It was an
kinda
adventure.
trippy.
It was an adventure I will never, ever forget.
never.
And I'm
Never.
so glad that it was the first time ever we took the podcast on the road and we decided to chronicle our adventure, which now has turned into all of our spectaculars. This was like the litmus test of all of that.
Yeah.
And it was the craziest one of the bunch. So you guys can go back and listen to that and celebrate Groundhog's Day with all of us.
You know, it's one of those things where, like, you never talk about the roller coaster ride that you went on, but you do talk about that camping trip where everything went wrong. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that's a lot more fun after you go through it, which is a lot more fun in general.
Right.
But like at the time you're going through it, it was like, oh my God, what was that? Like 7 miles up a hill.
It was crazy.
Freezing. I remember how cold my feet were because the ground was so
So
cold.
cold. So cool.
But hey, great firework display.
Great fireworks display.
Wow.
But I felt terrible because they put the poor groundhog in that fake tree stump on the stage, and then they do the firework display. So when they brought him out, he was so scared. He was shivering, and he was pooping all over the place.
He's pooping and shedding everywhere.
I
It was
felt so
crazy.
bad. I felt so bad. But again, you can relive all the fun with us right on that episode. I
Shout
had
out to
bring
you,
it up.
Phil.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work.
So, and now that you know they're sitting right here, they're right around the corner. Our Valentine's Day mug set is coming. We're really excited about it. You guys, we love doing new things, and this is something we've never done before, a mug set from Deneen, 2 brand new glazes on it. And what's amazing about these mugs, I just wanted you to understand, on the bottom, you'll see out of 6,000. Now, that is out of 6,000, all the mugs. So we're selling these as a set, so there is only 3,000 sets. So that means when you get your mugs, you're going to get 2 completely different numbers on the bottom, which is really fun. So for you mug lifers out there who really like collecting numbers, you get 2 chances at getting that number you really like. And I wanted to address something that we saw on Facebook and in the official community. We just started doing this the last couple mug releases, where we're doing golden tickets, and that is a new release of the mug that we're about to release, but with a different glaze and a different look and feel to it. And this last time we did the golden tickets. We did 15 for the Valentine's Day mug set, and we see some of you guys on the official community talking about how you didn't see anybody post pictures of them. And I actually saw a couple comments, and I think they were in jest, of people saying, I wonder if we got duped. And I'm just here to tell you, we'd never do that to you guys. We'd never dupe you. All 15 winners definitely got their golden ticket set. It's just, when it comes to Facebook, the people who post on Facebook is a drop in the bucket of our overall incredible Death Wish community out there, and a lot of people don't either have a Facebook or don't post pictures.
I mean, you're talking about a very small number of people,
15,
that might not even want to post about it.
Yeah,
might not even post about anything ever in their lives.
Right. But what we do with those golden tickets, they are 15 people selected at random, and then they're sent out right from our distribution center. And we get all those confirmation numbers, so I can tell you with 100% certainty that they all went out. They arrived safely in the hands of all 15 of those winners. And unfortunately, none of them are, super social media and posting it out there, but it is out there.
Yeah.
We just wanted to let you guys know that. Finally, we got something exciting to tell you guys. Last season, we had the band Flogging Molly on this very show. Love those guys. So much fun to talk to. And they told us how in the last couple of years, they started doing this thing called the Salty Dog Cruise, where they bring a bunch of their punk rock friends, they rent a cruise ship, and they go out into the middle of the ocean with an open bar, which sounds terrible. Like a terrible idea. Not terrible. It sounds like pandemonium.
Yeah.
It sounds so crazy and so nuts that we're going.
Yep. We're not only going, but we're sponsoring the event.
Yeah, Death Wish is gonna.
We're like, that's crazy. Sign us up.
Yeah.
Put our name up front.
Death Wish is gonna be there. We realized that if they're gonna have an open bar full of punk rockers for 3 days on the open seas, those poor punk rockers better have something to even them out. So we're gonna provide Death Wish coffee to everybody on the ship, and we're also gonna be D-Man and myself are gonna be there. Speaking of taking the show on the road.
Have you ever been on a cruise?
Never.
Jeff? Me neither.
Never.
Do you get boat sick? Do you know?
No.
Okay, me neither.
I don't get boat sick. But I've never been on something like this where like you're living on the ship.
Yeah.
I've been on like a catamaran cruise or like locally we have a lake up here, Lake George, with the mini haha that gives you an hour-long like dinner cruise. I've been on those. We've actually played a boat before.
Oh yeah, the Dutch Apple.
The Dutch
cruise.
Apple Cruise again. It's like an
Ooh,
hour
I can't believe we
long.
didn't die on that thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But never. And this is one of those humongous, cruise ships. In fact, what's incredible is if you know anything about Flogging Molly, one of the members, Matt Hensley, is also a incredible skateboarder, and he has a whole crew called H Street. And last year, he brought his buddies from H Street on the cruise, and they had a half pipe on the cruise, and they were doing skate demos, and it went over so well they're doing it again this year.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So D-Man and myself will be on hand during this cruise, which is going to be amazing, and we're going to chronicle the whole thing into spectacular. So we're going to talk to Flogging Molly, we're going to talk to the Offspring, the Buzzcocks, the Vandals, the Adolescents, everybody there, hopefully. It's going to be
work is
incredible.
So tough sometimes.
And I want you guys to make sure that you're subscribing to our newsletter, check out our social media, keep watching the podcast because there's going to be opportunities for you to be involved in this cruise as well, which is going to be really, really exciting. But we're really excited that we get to sponsor such just a weird, crazy event. A bunch of punk rockers in the middle of the ocean. It's going to be pretty crazy.
I can't wait, man.
I can't wait either. Like I said, we're bringing the microphones, we're bringing the camera, we're going to chronicle it all.
Bringing our party pants.
Yeah, I got party pants.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you have party pants? You have to go get some.
I think we have the same party pants.
Oh, crap.
I think
Do you have
it's
to wear
like,
them at the same time?
yeah, it's four-legged party pants.
Can we get four-legged party pants?
Done!
Yay! This is going to be the weirdest, craziest cruise ever. But like I said, we'll have more information as it gets closer. That's coming up in April of this year.
That's the show, everybody.
That's the show, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we love it when you guys are commenting and interacting with us in the comments and posting about the show, posting about the company. You know, we can't thank you enough for all your support. You're the reason why we get to do what we get to do with this company. And, you know, that can't be said with any higher praise than at this time of year, because this weekend is the Super Bowl, and 2 years ago we got a commercial in the big game because of all of you out there.
You guys change our lives for
Yeah.
the better, and seriously can't thank you enough for that.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly gracious. It's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
I would like you to know that most of the people here had a rough time of life up until this point,
True.
and you changed our lives to where we're able to live life to its fullest, and just like I said, so gracious. I can't really put it into words. So,
Yeah. So thank you so much.
thank you guys so much.
Final time. Share this feed. Comment, share in the comments. We're going to pick one lucky winner to win this set, the brand new Valentine's Day 2018 set with the blood of your blood, bone of your bone glazes.
Mwah, mwah.
Double kiss from
Hey.
Dustin. 2 separate numbers on the bottom. We're going to sign them. Send them right out to you guys. Thanks again. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for our podcast with ESPN reporter Field Yates. If you're into football, this is the one to tune into because it gets you. We talk about everything there is to do with the game, including the upcoming Super Bowl. And that'll be coming out tomorrow on Thursday. And tune in next week for a brand new show, Fueled by Deathcast. And we love you guys. Goodbye.
Cheers.
Bye.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.